It has been way too long since I sat down and have talked about a Ufotable series. God Eater has finally arrived. Episode 10. After the very long hiatus, after constant disruptions between the episodes of delay after delay after delay, which I covered constantly last year, God Eater is finally back with episode 10, and I gotta say, it has been far too long, because I have missed God Eater. I know not everybody likes this series. I know many have complaints about the series, but personally, I am actually a fan of God Eater. And so to see the series back, it makes me very happy. And Ufotable doesn't hold nothing back with the first episode they bring back after waiting constant months. This episode dives into our MC, Linka's past, and how he arrived to Fenrir, how he got there, and how he was raised. We find out more about his motivation of why he wanted to become a God Eater, and why he tries so hard to change the world. This episode, I know it probably wasn't intentional on Ufotable's part, because they probably were trying really hard to get the entire series out in one go, instead of having to take like a weird break on episode 9 and wait for episode 10 to come out. But the way this episode starts off, I don't know if it's actually continuing exactly where, the last episode ended off of in like chronological order, but the way this starts off, it's actually like a perfect start for a season 2 or something. That's exactly how it feels like to me, because when you see this backstory and you find out more about Linka, how his family found him, how he was raised, and then, what he lost on his journey as a young kid, it really opens your eyes up to more of the scenes we saw in the first season, or the first half of God Eater. I don't even know if I should actually consider that first season. I think this is all one season, just had to take a quick break because of, production issues. But regardless of that, let's get off of that topic for now. The main thing is, Linka, as we know, he has a set expiration date. He's going to be dying very soon. We know he's very close to death. He has a very short time to live. That was one of the main key focuses, like the main plot points in the last episodes before we went on break of God Eater. We knew that Linka was going to die very soon, and he was making a decision to continue on fighting even though he knows he's going to die. And he's increasing, his rate of death even faster with him, getting a new God arc and then also becoming, God Eater to fight once again. We know for a fact he's going to increase that rate of death, or he will probably die before the end of the series. So we found out some motivation of why he's willing to go this far. And this episode, very tragic, a very sad and tragic episode that honestly hit me in the feels, because there was some scenes in this episode that I did not expect to see, or I didn't expect to feel connected with a character or care about said characters that were introduced to me in one episode. The way the sister was done, like the sister character of this episode, of Linka, she right there, I know she was there to build up the atmosphere and suspense, and you knew something bad was going to happen to this family when you're watching the episode, because if you think about the first episode of God Eater, Linka didn't have a family, and we know how, Fenrir operates. They don't allow people that are not directly, DNA, blood testing and stuff. If you're not completely related, like officially related with someone, you can't bring them into Fenrir. And then also, I was figuring out, I was thinking, the entire time that this was going on with this episode, I thought that the family, took Linka over to Fenrir, and then when they got there, they kind of cast his family aside, like, you can't get in here, and Linka had to leave his family outside. I thought something like that was going to happen, but now we know the truth. His entire family died to get Linka to where he is at in life. And it's very sad, because you see the start of the episode, like the middle portion of the episode, the mother is dying, and even though she's not blood related to Linka, she still considers herself as a mother to Linka, and it's very emotional the way it's done, and the way she says, you need to make this decision, honey, you need to give the medicine to him, do, the test. Linka passes the test, and he can, become a God Eater and join Fenrir, and when they see that, they're like, you now know your choice, save him, he has a future ahead of him, and the mother lays down her life for a person that's not even really blood related, but it's still beautiful nonetheless, the way she does it. It's a perfect example of a good mother. And as time progresses, we have a time skip, and we see it to where, you know, the entire tribe, I'm assuming, is having a lot of issues. They can't get resources, they're having trouble getting gas, food, all sorts of stuff, and you see how it's really rough times. And one thing leads to another, to where eventually the entire group gets attacked, and the father gets crushed underneath rubble. And now, I have to admit, I really got some serious Attack on Titan vibes there. I'm not even going to deny that. I know that is one of the main things people talked about when, you know, it first started airing, like God Eater. But when I saw that scene with the father crushed underneath, you know, the rubble and stuff, it reminded me of the, you know, first episode of Attack on Titan with the mother. I'm like, that's exactly almost the same thing. For instance, you know, you have to leave behind, you know, your mother or, you know, your parent, and then you have to run away and you watch your parent get eaten in front of you. And that's pretty much what happened. So, very similar to Attack on Titan there, but I feel like the way it was done, I actually enjoyed this scene overall a whole lot more. Now, music, you know, if I'm counting in music, the music was a lot better of Attack on Titan. Like, when it came to the music and the atmosphere that set up with the first episode of Attack on Titan, that was a whole lot better. But I like the way it was done, like, when it comes to the writing of this death scene, because it was showing how Linka was losing everything around him to get to the point he is at in this life. And now he's laying down his life to save everybody else. It's like an endless cycle. And then eventually we get to the point to where the sister, she gets a cut, and, of course, it gets infected. And as we see this long journey, like it's a montage, a long journey with the sister and brother, eventually the sister breaks down. She can no longer move forward because her wound is infected, had maggots in it, which was very disgusting, but I mean, it goes to show you the example of how bad her condition was, and she just couldn't move. She was holding back Linka and was going to get him killed. So the only way she could make Linka move on and, you know, not stay with her was for her to force Linka away, and that was slitting her throat. And, oh my god, that scene, yo, what the fuck? Like, oh my god. I mean, I understand that you wanted Linka to leave, but shit, she just straight, like, there was no hesitation. She just fucking slit her throat. She was like, I'm done. I'm GG. I'm out of here. Like, no re. So, wow. I mean, Linka had to watch his sister, well, even though it's not blood-related sister, still, he had to watch his sister kill herself and then force him to leave. That's pretty fucking tragic. I mean, damn! He straight up just saw his sister kill herself. And then what was even more gruesome after that fact, after she kills herself, like, Ufotable didn't even need to show this. They did not even need to show this, but they did anyways, just to show you how cruel the world of God Eater is. After Linka's already running off, and he no longer can see his sister, the sister starts thinking in her mind, like flashbacks and stuff about, you know, the time she spent with her family, and then eventually she comes to the conclusion how much she cares for her brother, how much she loves her brother, and we see a scene to where she's getting eaten. Like, you just see, like, this soulless face, and she's just getting devoured on. I'm like, bro, this is, like, that's some, yo, like, God Eater, you're definitely starting off with this type of shit. Like, the first episode in a long time we get this type of stuff. Like, my god, a sad episode. Probably one of the best episodes of God Eater. I'm not even joking. Definitely. It was probably one of the best episodes just because of the characterization it gave us, along with the backstory of Linka, his motivation of why he does what he does throughout the series, and why he's willing to give up everything for the sake of others. It makes so much more sense now. So, in terms of being a great episode, it nailed all those good points. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.